8:46 on TSN 690. TSN Matthew on Twitter.com. This coming in from Dan Toman. I tweeted about Matt Caus's take on the Jays Red Sox that we heard from him a few minutes ago here on the air, saying that Farrell going to Boston is another indication that the Jays just aren't a valid franchise. And Dan says, no, it doesn't. Farrell going to Boston says that's where he wanted to be, not a reflection of the Jays franchise. TSN Matthew on Twitter.com if you want to weigh in there. I just tweeted out who our next guest is. Let's get to him. And we welcome in from basketball coverage here on TSN 690. You can also follow him on Twitter.com/BBallInsider. It's the big man, Mr. Dwight Walton. How you doing, sir?
What's happening, Matthew? How's things this evening?
Not bad, not bad. I'm watching the late games here in the NFL, hoping my fantasy football team gets out of its funk. But okay. I'm kind of bummed that there's only 2 games. I like to watch 2 or 3 or 4 with all the screens going here, but only 2 games. We have 6 teams on a bye this week, so kind of.
That's right. That's what I was going to say. The bye.
Yeah, kind of lame. But Dwight, you were at the Friday game. 22,000 fans. In fact, a lot of extra or late tickets were purchased so that this would be a sellout, which is kind of cool to see a walk up for professional basketball preseason. Right. But Raptors versus Knicks Friday night, second time in 3 years. How did you find it?
Matthew, first of all, I just want to, thank all the fans for putting forth the effort of making this game another sellout. That's 2 in the last 3 years. I believe he would have sold the game out again last year if there wasn't a lockout prior to last season. But listen, we've got fans here in the city. It's obvious that they're starving for basketball. And it was great. The atmosphere, it was a playoff-type atmosphere in the arena that night. A lot of fans hooping and hollering, screaming. Very well astute, very well knowledgeable audience as well. It was fun to be in there, seeing all the celebrities in there from the NBA, from the Toronto Raptors and the Knicks side. It was fun. I had a great time, and I'm hoping that the NBA will once again come through Montreal, not only for an exhibition game, but hopefully we can get an exhibition game or 2. But the tricky part about that is, will the home team, the Toronto Raptors, want to give up the gate for that home game? It's a tricky situation where people are going to say, you should bring the Lakers here, the Boston Celtics because of Chris Joseph, the Lakers with Steve Nash, Miami with Joel Anthony.
Well, Boston also because of proximity. I mean, they're technically close. They're closer than the Knicks are.
No question about that. But like I said, those games are normally sellout games in Toronto, and with Toronto and of course their brass want to give up the gate for that game. I think it would be great. Once again, we would sell the game out, but it comes down to finances, and that would be a major, major decision for the Raptor organization to make.
Dwight Walton joining us here on GamePoints with Matthew Ross, talking about the NBA game this past Friday here in Montreal, over 22,000 fans. Dwight, you and I talked about this off the air. Could they not have purchased a $100 horn instead of having the siren every 5 minutes for substitutions? I mean, to me, that was a little amateurish.
Well, hey, that's the way it is at the Bell Center. Like you said, maybe they could have made a purchase, but it was a one-shot deal. Also,
are they going to do that in Winnipeg too? Have a siren for that preseason game?
Well, do they have? It all depends. I don't know what kind of arrangement they have at the at the Winnipeg Arena there, but
MTS Center.
That's
yeah,
the way it is. Well, that's just the way it is. So, but hey. Also, if you want to mention that there wasn't a shot clock on top of the backboards either. They had it on the floor like it was back in the early days of the NBA. So for a couple of things, yes, it was a bit amateurish, but overall, the presentation of the game, just having the 22,000 seats filled and just the whole atmosphere, the way it looked like an NBA arena. Of course, Dwayne Casey's on record as saying that the game felt like this was an NBA city, and we accomplished our goal. Montreal fans, just stand up and be proud today. They had a very, very good showing on Friday night.
Dwight, how was the floor? What kind of floor did they use, and how did it look from the players' perspective, do you think? And were there any hiccups with any of the equipment or anything like that?
There weren't any hiccups with the floor. I'm not going to sit here and say that the floor was great. It didn't look great when I walked in for the shoot-around early on Friday morning. They did clean it up a little bit, but it wasn't the best floor. But the players
where did they get this floor? Do you know?
You know what? I don't know where the floor came from. It
like,
worked.
is it a local thing that they painted, or did they travel with it? I mean,
it's I don't know. I just know it was playable. The players didn't complain. I didn't see any ball boys come out and clean the floor with a lot of condensation on it. So it was good. It worked out. Like I said, there were a couple of dead spots here and there, but if you go to any NBA arena today, you're going to find some dead spots just because the floor is used so often. So all signs were good for the floor on Friday night.
Dwight, in terms of the actual game play, the Raptors winning it, of course, what was the crowd, apparently from reports, were solidly behind the Raptors. Is that more a reflection of just the Knicks not being popular here, or is that because we are apparently Raptors country? In other words, if it were the Heat or the Celtics or, some of the Bulls, etc., these long, traditionally successful franchises, do you think the Raptors would have had that home court advantage?
Well, I can tell. Of course, everybody has their favorite player and/or team around the world, especially, of course, here in Montreal as well. But just to give you an example, Carmelo Anthony was booed throughout the game. The Raptors were being cheered. Of course, you had some Knicks fans in the crowd, some who live here in Montreal, and of course, the proximity with New York being very close to Montreal, you had some Knicks fans in the crowd as well. But for the most part, it was a pro-Raptor crowd. The Raptors look very, very good. They're going to be fighting for that 6th, 7th, or 8th playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. I truly believe that if they all stay healthy, Andre Bargnani is primed to have a fantastic season. I'm a huge fan of his. I think if he stays healthy, he'll be an all-star this year. Kyle Lowry is the truth at the point guard position. He's a bulldog defensively. He can put the ball on the floor, take guys off the dribble, can make a three-point shot. Has a pretty decent mid-range game, but he is the truth at the point guard position. Jonas Valanciunas, the young 20-year-old lottery pick from 2 years ago, I like the way he moves on the floor. He's extremely athletic. He doesn't back down from anybody. He's tough on the interior. Offensively, he looks to score. He's not a great scorer right now. I think defensively he's ahead of his offensive game right now, but I think he's going to be a rookie to be reckoned with this season. I'm not going to say he's going to win the Rookie of the Year, but he'll be a major, major part of what the Raptors try to accomplish this year. Landry Fields, Terrence Ross, DeMar DeRozan give them athletic ability on the perimeter. John Lucas gives them a lot of scoring off the bench at the point guard position. I don't think he's a very good point guard in terms of his shot selection. He doesn't really make his teammates better, but you can't deny or dispute the fact that he puts the ball in the basket. In the games that I've watched throughout his career, and even in this preseason with the Raptors, he can definitely score the ball. And you might call Jose Calderon the best backup point guard in the NBA. He does make $10.5 million in this final season. He might be trade bait. I'm not sure anybody's going to want to give him that $10 million right now. It is an expiring contract. If there's a deal out there to be made, they can go ahead and do it. But as of right now, I think Jose Calderon and Kyle Lowry could be a very formidable backcourt in the NBA, especially if they want to do that one. If they can play them together, they'll be very, very good. The Knicks, on the other hand, they'll be a playoff team. I still don't like that dynamic between Tyson Chandler, Amari Stoudemire, and Carmelo Anthony. I think the lane is too congested. I don't think they have any continuity, not enough ball movement offensively. I would like to see J.R. Smith and Amari Stoudemire come off the bench for the New York Knicks, but it's pretty hard to justify paying somebody $20 million a season to come off the bench, and I'm not sure if it would be the best idea. I'm not sure if Amari Stoudemire would mentally check out coming off the bench. But they've got some issues there, and of course their defense is not very good either, giving up 114 points the other night. Both teams played the majority of their players that they're going to play in a regular season game, so that's why a lot could have been taken out of the game on Friday night. Two teams have playoff aspirations. Championship aspirations, I don't think so, but the Raptors have a chance to do some special things this year in the Eastern Conference of the NBA.
He is Dwight Walton. You can find him, of course, on twitter.com/bballinsider. Dwight, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate it, and we will have you on as the preseason heats up.
Thank you very much, Matthew. You guys have a good weekend and a great week.